Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host Eric Smith, and today I am talking about Frostbite by Angela Sylvaine. This is from Dark Matter Inc. There you go, with a wonderful cover by Eric Hibbler. There's the back cover. Beautiful front cover. And I'm just going to read the back cover copy mainly to remind myself of what I can and can't say. If it's not on the back cover, I consider it a spoiler. So this is what it says on the back cover. Midwestern mayhem. Remember the 90s? Well, the town of Demise, North Dakota doesn't, and they're living in the year 1997. That's because an alien worm hitched a ride on a comet, crash landed in the town's trailer park, and is now infecting animals with a memory loss inducing bite. And right before Christmas. Now it's up to 19-year-old Realene and her best friend Nate to stop the spread and defeat the worms before the entire town loses its mind. The only things standing in the way of their troubled pasts, a doomsday cult. The only things standing in their way are their troubled pasts, a doomsday cult, and an army of infected prairie dogs. Look at those cute little prairie dogs. Okay, so I guess there's a lot that I can say. First of all, for the too long didn't watch folks, I gave this 4 out of 5. I really, really liked this. And infected prairie dogs right off the bat, for people who know me, should know that's right up my alley. Killer animals, my favorite subgenre of horror. And this is, I think it's listed as YA on Amazon, or at least the suggested age for readers that it gives would make me think it's YA. But I'm not, I don't know. I wonder what Angela Sylvaine would say, where it falls. It gets pretty gruesome at times, and there's some bad language, but no sex, which is one of the things that I really liked about this. Not the lack of sex, but the fact that Realene, and I don't know if that's how you actually pronounce her name or not. That's what I'm going with. Realene and Nate are best friends, and they remain best friends. There's no, some might call this a spoiler, but this one I don't care. There's no big romantic revelation at the end of the story. Oh my God, we survived, and I've loved you all my life. They start best friends, they end best friends. There's a rocky road in the middle, but there's never any sexual tension between them. There's never any will they, won't they. They're friends. And I like that. It's refreshing. It's fun. It's gross, as I said. It's not extreme, but there's some graphic violence in here. And, but I really enjoy the characters. I like the character of Realene. She's a complicated, young lady who's definitely not perfect. She's, judgmental, and I like Nate and a bunch of the other characters, and then it does mention the Doomsday Cult, so there's that whole thing going on, which I enjoyed very much. I think the one downer for me, and I can't get specific, but there is a thing in here that in general, I don't like when certain things tie together. How do I put this? Without giving anything away. There is something going on in the story that perfectly coincides with something technically completely unrelated in the story. And I think I get the reason for it technically, but it's just something I generally dislike. I'm trying to think of an example, but when you're watching a TV show, say you're watching a cop show, and there's something going on in the cop's life that somehow is perfectly synchronous with the case that they happen to catch. Um, and that's not what the case is here, but I'm trying to convey what it is that it always bothers me when this happens. And so there is that in this book, and that's nothing against the author, nothing against the story. That's a personal pet peeve of mine. Probably the biggest reason it doesn't get 5 stars. I can't say I loved it because of this thing that just bothers me. Hopefully, some of you have read it, some of you will read it, and you'll jump into the comments and tell me that I'm full of shit and shouldn't have let it bother me. We'll see. But, excuse me. So, essentially, I love the old 50s start to this, where it's just a meteorite, as Nate likes to tell people, crashes in this field by the trailer park, and something escapes from it. Uh, I mean, it's. I love the original Blob, the movie The Blob. I like the remake as well, but I have a soft spot in my heart for the original because I grew up with that movie, and that's the feeling I get. And The Blob isn't the only movie that's ever done it. Splinter, a more recent one, the James Gunn movie. But I love that setup, that old fashioned sci-fi setup. And then we're meeting our characters throughout this. And there's the residents of the trailer park. There's the residents of the town. There's the people that are connected to the Doomsday cult. There's a military base not far away. And then there's the animals. There's the prairie dogs. You know I'm in. That was um, probably the biggest selling factor for me. Kaylee Dobbs of Happy Goat Horror talked about this book, and she kind of sold me on it, but she kept mentioning the prairie dogs, and that's what really tipped it over the edge. Well written, great characters, lots of crazy action. It went in directions that I didn't expect, and apparently there's going to be a sequel, Frostbite 2, coming spring break 2025. There's also a playlist in the back. We're All Gonna Die Hot 25. So a bunch of great 90s songs. Always enjoy that sort of little extra thrown in by the author. So 4 out of 5, maybe 4.5 out of 5. I really, really liked Frostbite by Angela. Make sure I'm saying it correctly, saying the correct name. Angela Sylvaine. It's just a lot of great fun, and if you look closely at the cover, you might figure some things out. Some people might say the cover's a little spoilery, depending. But I recognize all the characters on here, having read the book. As I was reading through them, I'd be introduced to a character, and then flip to the front cover at the chapter breaks. Oh, yep, that's that character on the cover there. Really, really fun. Frostbite. Absolutely looking forward to the sequel, and maybe we'll have many adventures with Realene and Nate and alien invasions. I don't know, but fingers crossed. So, all right, I think I've said it enough. Frostbite, Angela Sylvaine, 4.5. We're gonna go 4.5 out of 5 stars with a beautiful cover by Eric Hibler. Question for the video: what's your favorite alien invasion movie? Excuse me. I think I'm going to get a lot of people that say John Carpenter's The Thing. That is one of the most popular horror movies in the circles that I run in. And there's all sorts of interesting answers. My favorite, and because I didn't think of this ahead of time, well, I can tell you what my least favorite is, and that's Signs. Not a fan of that movie at all. I thought it was boring. I thought it was dumb. Not gonna. I know some people love that movie. I'm not saying the people that love that movie are dumb. I'm saying I think the movie is dumb. Uh, um, but I mean, I could say The Blob. I absolutely love that movie. Is it an alien invasion? I guess technically, it's one single alien. I wanted to love Mars Attacks because I'm a big fan of the trading cards, and I've enjoyed the novels, some of the novels and comic books and things that have come out from Mars Attacks. But it's enjoyable. It's a little too Tim Burton-y for me, so it's definitely not my favorite. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, whether the original or the Donald Sutherland one, are both fantastic movies. Um, Invasion of the Saucer Men, I think that's the name of it, is one of my favorites. It's a cheesy, old black and white movie with, sort of dome headed, almost Mars Attacks looking aliens. They have big pointy ears and they don't have the helmets on. And they have these needles that come out of their fingers. They'll attack people with them. Not going to give too much away. And it's, teenagers know about it. Adults won't believe them. That's one of my favorites. I'd put that and The Blob and The Thing, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's hard for me to pick a favorite, though. Really hard to pick the one. And there's probably tons that I'm forgetting. There's Independence Day, but that's not even close to one of my favorites. And I mean, technically, Cloverfield is an alien invasion movie, but I'm not a fan of that one. Uh, so I'm gonna go with my top four being The Blob, Invasion of the Saucermen, John Carpenter's The Thing, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers, both original and 70s version, counting that together. And Blob remake as well. And that's not in any particular order. But what about you? Favorite alien invasion story, movie, whichever. Let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff. And if you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronan5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, fuzzy animals, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. On Blue Sky, I am @EL Smith and not very active. That's all I have for you. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.